new mountain divisions for offensive warfare means nothing. No, it's like being half pregnant. You know, I mean, there's no such thing. Either you're pregnant or you're not. So either you have the capability or you're not. So you can't, that's why I told the army chief. We met in Nainital, there was a mountain division conference of all mountain division GOCs, still officers commanding in Nainital in June this year. And I spoke on China and I said, you know, what the heck are you guys doing? What do you think you're doing with 2+2 divisions? All you end up doing is beefing up your positional warfare capability. What's your positional warfare capability? You build up a pre-positioned line, 60 kilometers, 60 miles, as much as 100 miles in some sectors, behind the line of actual control. So you're already conceding a 100-mile belt to the Chinese in war. I mean, you're already giving it away. Why? Because we didn't have the sense to build up network of roads. Yes, it's much worse terrain that the Chinese have on the Tibetan side. It's a flat, high altitude desert on the Tibetan side. But we do not have 9 other roads. This is our problem. Now finally we're waking up. Hello, we have to build up roads, and they are building up roads, and so we are told. But to build up a whole big network where we are right in, we'll be able to reinforce our forward posts and all. I don't know how long, I can't even hazard a time frame. If I can, I won't, because I simply, we don't know. The point then is that this is the position using China. People like, strategists, naval strategists like Raja Menon, who was with me in the Christian seminar, and the case they are making is that, yes, Bharat, we are disadvantaged landwards, but can we not then have an offsetting strategy by sinking their merchant marine on the oil-bearing 8-channel, 9-degree channel route? The reason I'm not convinced is for the obvious thing. There is one thing to say, I've occupied your 100-mile belt which you already conceded. And then say, well, I'll sink one of your ships. The Chinese, the trade-off is exchange ratio is perfectly fine. You are now sitting on your territory, and which you already claim, which they don't have to return. Under international law, if it's disputed territory and there's a war, you can keep the territory, which is what they did in Expenditure. Chinese can replace the tankers you might sink. So how does it help? So Raja Menon and naval strategists are unable to explain that to me. So presumably they are still thinking of a riposte. So I don't see how that's going to work actually in real terms. Our Air Force is crippled by the lack of strategic operational sense. What do I mean by that? It's basically sees itself, I've always argued, only half jokingly, and that's what I've said in my writings, and that's what I said in the Air Force officers, is that they think of themselves as an adjunct, a regional adjunct to the Royal Air Force. 60 years after independence. So all this while, for 60 years, you while away your time in not having other than short-legged aircraft, very short-range air defense aircraft. In 1971, India was offered the backfire Tu-22. If you've read my first book, Nuclear Doctrine Drafting Indian Security, it's all there. The Shivdev Singh, Air Marshal Shivdev Singh mission went there, and you had a whole squadron plus Tu-22s sitting there, Indian Air Force roundels painted on the Sheremetyevo airport in Moscow, ready to take off from India. So then Wing Commander Chandu Gole, who became Air Marshal and then AOC, NC, SWAC, Southwestern Air Command, told me, Bharat, I said, Air Marshal, I mean, you were the test pilot, you were the pilot who was, and he said, yeah, I was benched up into the cockpit. I said, look, you can argue all you want as to the technology shortfalls. It's ergonomically, Soviet planes were never very good. They're not made for comfort, they're made for fighting. The more comfortable you are, you don't know where the radar is coming from. It's like sitting in you go into an F-16 cockpit or you're an F-18 cockpit, it's ergonomically beautiful. You fly by wire, you are managing things, and the plane is beautifully juking right, left, But You are too comfortable. It's like a racing car. You're sitting in the racing car, the reason it's very hard suspension is because you feel when you have to switch gears and so on. On F1, you just had a Delhi F1, and we went to the paddock area, so the Force India, or whatever, the Force India team, or India team, whatever it was, Malia's team. So we got in to see our team, and you saw the thing, you know, these are very hard machines. So unless this driver has a feel of the ground, which is what makes him change gears with buttons on the steering wheel, you know, 1, 2, 7 gears, you go on from, and so on. This is what a fighter pilot is ideally supposed to do. You have to be on the ball. You can't be too comfortable, you know, air conditioned and all this shit. Russians don't believe in it. Russians are very hard. You get into a MiG-27 or MiG-21 cockpit, it's very hard. You know, sit there, you talk, you know, your buttocks are right on the steel plate. Now, it may not be very nice, but it keeps you on your toes. So, Chandu Bole tells me, yes, Bharat, you know, but kya, this, that. I said, you didn't have to, he said, yes, we didn't have to fix it. Okay, he admits it. So, what's there to say? If you say you don't have strategic foresight to not get the Tu-22 backfires in 71, think of what that would have meant. A strategic bomber that would go all the way to the most distant Chinese target. You would have immediately elevated India to a strategic power. Because then everybody would have, oh yeah, इनके पास Tu-22 है. Tu-22 is not a goddamn joke. You can carry an ordnance load of 10 tons. Upload it, you see, you have a super cruise going at supersonic cruise. Well, you may not like its innards, you know, but the point is, that's the capability you had with Indian Air Force under PC Lal, who was supposed to be a great thinker and so on and so forth. Ye haal hai. Meaning, an Air Force who thinks that the chief was among the great thinkers, the three thinkers, said no. Instead, what did he opt for? Indian Air Force opt for? MiG-23. This is the real problem with us. It's changing now, but we have lost 60 years in our credibility and our standing. So we don't have Tu-22s. I've been, until recently, plugging for the Tu-160 Blackjack. I've been plugging with the Strategic Forces Command, we should get a manned platform. Manned platform is recallable option in war. Missile once fired stays fired. You can have an abort on a nuclear weapon, but it's going to follow someone's head. Even if there's no nuclear explosion, you can abort the explosion. But the problem is that you have a manned thing like that, you get to a fail-safe point, return. It is a everyday warning to our adversary. Everyday warning. What was the big thing about the Cold War? We tend to forget. The B-52s went from Omaha up to Bering Strait, fail-safe point. Every day, 24 hours of the day, the Russians knew anytime they were going to get it. This is the message, and therefore everybody was quiet. You don't want Bengal, you don't want a mistake or a war by mischance or happenstance. Unfortunately, again we didn't have foresight. Air Force, I met Air Marshal N.A.K. Brown, he wanted to meet with me, so I met with him. I said, he said, no, Bharat, now we have the fuelers and we're making this case. I said, okay, please tell me, even if you have the Sukhoi 50, we have the Sukhoi 30 MKI, which the Air Force touts as a strategic bomber. It's not a strategic bomber. It's little more than a medium range bomber, medium range plus bomber. Now, at distant targets on a recallable option, what do you do other than rely on tactical routing, what they call tactical routing? Then crucial thing becomes the tactical routing of the aircraft. Tactical routing is evading air defenses, YEVO. Now, and then you have to refuel for your final bomb run onto target. Where are you going to place your refuelers? Near the Chinese coast. You think the Chinese are just going to sit quickly and say, okay, take up, refuel karo, and then you come on to the target scene. They're going to blow the refueler out of the target. Then what do you do with the goddamn aircraft? You've gone that far, you can't return. What are you going to do as a pilot? You're going to ditch? Or you're going to then go back, or you go on a suicidal mission, which is what I discussed also in the book. We had the Canberras in 1964, when we had first attained our capability, nuclear weapons capability. Why was it so difficult? The French had the Mirage 5, which they were going to send on suicide missions one way to Moscow. You could have done that. You have to be hard-headed about these things. There's no soft option. We think of soft options all the time, wherein we land on our feet, on nicely cushioned option. This doesn't happen that way. The French were thinking hard. They didn't have range. So what did they do? One-way mission. Then you can have the range. You can send a Sukhoi on one-way mission. You have one nuclear bomb, a thermonuclear. If you had, again, I'll get to it, we don't have it. But if you had one, 2 megaton or 1 megaton, on a suicide mission, nothing else, all fuel up, extra fuel tanks, you can make a run. Drop the bomb, and then scoot for life, then you go to Japan, go to some friendly, and assuming you survive. The air defense environment now is so thick,